Last week I ran 2:15 for the marathon, and now, only 8 days later, I would struggle to run that pace for 1 mile. So let's talk about why I've let myself get into this position, how I recover post-marathon, and why I think downtime is so important. So it's been just over a week since the Valencia marathon, and I've ran a grand total of 6 miles over 2 runs. This comes after a 205-day running streak, so has been a pretty big change for me. You're probably asking why I've run so little in the past week. I must be injured. Well, I can say thankfully that I am not injured. I don't have any of the sickness that everyone else seems to have. I'm just having a bit of a break. After the marathon, my quads were really quite sore. That night they seemed to be completely fine, and I actually thought that because I didn't get cramped like I have in previous marathons, that I'd gotten away with it and wouldn't have any DOMs. Here's some video proof of me running about 10 hours after the race. Looking quite good. I had a couple of drinks at this point, but those couple of drinks would not have been able to mask the pain that came the day after the marathon. That day after the race was pretty tough. The only thing more painful than walking upstairs was walking downstairs. Me and Holly went to Marrakesh, where every restaurant has a rooftop option, which was just so hard to pass up on. So it was a rough few days for the quads. I ended up doing a 20-minute jog on the Wednesday, which I absolutely would not have done had I not been in Marrakesh. But it was lovely, even though my quads were still in a very bad way. The next time I ran was Sunday, so exactly a week after the race. My legs still weren't 100% on the Sunday, and the run felt pretty hard, even though it was like 3 minutes per mile slower than my marathon pace. I think my body just sort of forgets how to run when I take any sort of time off. Because I do like 10 runs a week, when I actually take any time off, it feels like I've never ran before. And it's just always the same with me. So that was 5 days completely off running. 6 miles for the week after averaging 93 miles for the 19 weeks previously. So the big question you're probably asking here is, why have I took so much time off running? Well, the short, honest answer is that I needed it. I think there's a lot of people, especially nowadays, that are really scared to take any time off because they want to keep the ball rolling. But I am not, and have never been one of those people. When I'm training for a marathon, or any race really, I'm 100% focused on doing everything that I can right. I eat well, I sleep 9 hours a night, I do every run, gym session, core session that I'm set, and it's hard. This definitely is not a poor me video. I absolutely love working towards a goal and going all in on that, and I'd never have it any other way. But once that goal passes, I do just need some time to relax and do all the normal stuff that I enjoy doing but really can't when I'm training so hard. Like going out for drinks, going to gigs, eating cakes with breakfast, lunch and dinner. Things that I enjoy that just don't merge that well with running as fast as possible over the marathon. This break allows me to completely refocus on the next goal and make sure that I don't end up struggling with focus and motivation at the wrong time. My motivation at the moment is definitely pretty low. I think because the marathon is always such a great day, there's a bit of a downer after it, no matter what the result. Also, I live in Scotland where the weather's just a bit crap at this time of year, so that doesn't help, especially after spending a week in the sun. Usually it only takes one kind of event to knock me out of this motivation funk, and that's usually something like a park run or a bad session or even maybe New Year when it comes around. I'm definitely not worried about it because I know this is what happens and that it'll pass. I have got a lot more good marathon blocks in me, so don't worry about that. I do think this ability to be okay with taking breaks that I've had since I was young is a big reason why I don't get that many injuries. Obviously there's other reasons for this, like strength training, not making any major changes to training or mileage, and emphasis on the day-to-day recovery. But the end of season break is that time where everything's just allowed to reset and niggles are able to disappear into the background for a bit. Speaking of injury prevention, I will do one lightweight session and one short core session this week, just because I know how important this is for keeping injuries away, and also the longer I leave it, the more pain I'm going to be in the next day. So I think it's best to just get it done and get back into that strength training routine as early as possible. Even if you don't feel like you personally need the break, I would suggest that you take one and make sure you lose a bit of fitness on purpose when you're so far out from your next goal race. You can't be fit all the time, and if you try to be, you're going to end up injured or ill or just peaking too early for your next goal. I'm not suggesting that you go completely off the rails and lose everything that you've built up over the past few months, but don't just jump straight back into training, and really make sure that your body's fully recovered and ready to go again. I think this graph shows the fitness curve pretty well. It's a little bit steep for my liking, especially for someone like me who's been training at a decent level for a lot of years. I don't expect to be miles better by my next marathon like this graph would suggest, but I think it paints a good picture of what we're going for with breaks and training blocks. So that's been the past week. Cakes, cocktails and limited running. But what will the next few weeks look like? Well, I plan to just run easy this week. I might run every day, I might have a day off. I'm just kind of doing what I feel like right now and making sure that when my coach starts to send me training again, that I'm ready to go and hit it and don't feel like I need to miss any of those sessions that he sets. I'll start running a bit harder next week, maybe 1 or 2 lighter sessions, and then get into something that looks like full training over the Christmas period. I'll do my best to take you through the process of getting back into full training, which should be fun because historically I'm not great after a break. It doesn't take me too long to start feeling like a runner again, but usually those first few sessions are not good. I will post all of this training on Strava, so I'll put a link to that in the description. In terms of life outside of running, which I do have when I'm not training for a marathon, it will still be a lot more chill until New Year. I've got a few gigs planned, I've got a lot of people to catch up with, and this time of year is perfect for that. So I'll definitely not be doing all the right things for the next few weeks, and I really think that's okay because I know that long term it's going to help me mentally and physically. I thought it was important to make this video and tell you how I do things because my Strava has been filled with people who raced in Valencia and went running the next day and already seem to be back at full training. So much so that I actually started to question my approach a bit, but I do know that this is what's best for me. I'm not the best at having balance in my day-to-day life, so my compromise is just getting it all out my system over a few weeks before the next training block starts. If taking breaks sounds like something that you'd like to have implemented into your training, then please check out my brand new coaching website that I've linked in the description of this video. I'm offering full personalised coaching in the form of one-to-one coaching and also training plans of various lengths. So check that out if that sounds like something you'd be interested in. I hope this video was helpful and that you were able to take something from it. I'll talk through my 2025 goals once they're more firmly planned, but for now I can say with a decent amount of certainty that I'm not going to have a real goal race until probably mid-February. So subscribe if you want to see how I go from low motivation and on a break to hopefully PB shape in about 8 weeks. And I'll see you next time. Cheers!